2014. We rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, could you call the roll?
A quorum is present.
Any persons wishing to address the City Council on any item of today's agenda may do so at this time.
Man, here we go again.
Mr. Mayor, Council, my name is Joseph Texera. I'm confused about the offer of the reward. Now, I read that the city of L.A., a lot of their rewards are paid out. In April of 2012, Mayor Butts had a press conference where he publicized one reward for information about the killers of Mr. Frederick Martin. He said that he hoped several rewards would be offered, and later he voted to have the city offer a $25,000 reward. Now, during that press conference, Butts said that the city would not recommend offering a reward unless IPD thought it would help. Okay? But last year, on April 9th, I pointed out that the killers of Frederick Martin were still loose, and Butts asked Chief Fronterata if there had been any studies done on the effectiveness of rewards. Fronterata didn't cite any, and he said that historically, nationally, not many rewards have been pointed out. Fronterata also pointed out that Inglewood has never paid out even one reward, and Butts said that in his 37 years in law enforcement, he didn't know of even one case that was ever solved by a reward. Now, I'm for rewards, but rewards assume that people are going to tell the police something to get the money, and as the federal government, the Justice Department said, there is a lack of distrust, or a lack of trust in IPD in this city. Now, so we have I read it in the Times, an article saying that rewards are paid out for the city of L.A. We have Butts saying that he hoped that rewards were paid, and they offered $25,000. Then a year later, he says that he's never seen rewards work. Fronterata says he's never seen rewards work, and he couldn't cite any studies. But now we get a report saying that the offering of a monetary reward, this is the report, this staff report, the offering of a monetary reward to encourage individuals to provide information leading to the arrest of criminals is a widely recognized and effective investigative strategy. But yet, we have the police chief, we have the mayor who says he's been in law enforcement that says they don't work. So my point is that that's fine, offer a reward, but if you go to IPD misconduct, just go to Google and just put in IPD misconduct, you will see that IPD does a terrible job of investigating crimes. Terrible. On that video, you'll see IPD dispatchers telling police to go to the wrong house. You'll see IPD dispatchers not telling officers what people told them on 911 tapes. You'll see IPD officers, you'll see and hear IPD officers not wanting to investigate crimes, saying that if you shoot at somebody, you must have a good reason. If you get shot at in Inglewood, there must be a good reason for you getting shot at. So you guys need to get your lies straight. Either rewards work or they don't work, and you need to focus on the police department investigating crimes.
My name's Alfonso Parker, Jr. I'm a 1966-67 Vietnam veteran, also a conscious objector. I look at this printouts you put out all the time, and I'm fascinated by how much finance pops up or it doesn't pop up. No finance report. I've been screaming at you people on the board, the old board, ever since I started coming in here and sat a while. Your greatest cash cow is that Veterans Administration out there. They're housing veterans in your city, like by the dozens, for money those veterans had. They had their money, they would have been spending it in their community here, your community. The child support that they would get from their funds that the government owes them, the veterans. That would have been to your children. You could have picked the schools, the doctors, anything you wanted, the best of the best. the support you would have got as a wife and a spouse. You would have got, but you don't get that because they're housing them in your city at minimum, like a mass egg sale at cut rate rates. You want to get your city back on. You deal with that VA in your city. I'm dealing with it at the federal level and everywhere I can, trying to get me a station now to put my stuff on. I'll blow them out the water. I'm good at what I do, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm not going out there on that federal property for them to cut you up and you never see you again. You don't know what happened to you. If I go down in the street. I went to Vietnam as a conscious objector. You're looking at me. What the devil make you think I'm scared of these here treasonous, espionage, racketeering, money laundering,
Sir,
and thanks to the
sir,
domestic terrorists.
Sir, could you address the council next time? Thank you.
That on.
Evening. Leroy Fisher, the First District. I got a question, and I hope you would answer it. But with regard to this animal control thing, we have had a problem in the past in the city of Inglewood with animal control with regard to wild animals. And I'm talking about things like raccoons or possums or whatever, where they will not take them. You know, if you catch them in a trap that you rent, then it's up to you to get rid of them. So I didn't read anything with regard to an approved amendment, but I would hope that for the sake of the residents here, that you then would look at that very closely, because we do have a lot of problems with wild animals, those type of animals here in the city, and with the raccoons especially. Those things are really pretty mean. And, I've had occasion to catch them and they rip open the metal trap and walk away anyway. But we ought to have some agreement with those people that they take those animals and they take them where they can roam freely and not have to depend on the residents here. With regard to this police deal, I don't know if it has to do with a young man that was killed up there across from the DMV, because I don't know the young person's name, but you know, I would hope that there would be some information forthcoming, and that we could satisfy and get rid of the persons who committed that crime and other things that are going on here in the city. Those are my comments for now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gil Matthew, District 4, Mayor and City Council. First, payment of the bills. Here again, I've asked to have oversight on payment of bills. Now, one council member on his own does really look at payment of bills. But I think as a policy of this council, by resolution or by whatever, it should be incumbent upon the city manager to extrapolate 20 or more vendors randomly and have oversight on documentation of payment of bills. That's a normal procedure for any corporation. So I don't know why we're so reluctant to do that. And then on payment of bills also, we have no response as far as the payments that the successor agency are making. That should be public information, just as the regular vendors on with the finance department. Now, on item number 6, on the citizens' option for public safety. Now, I approve that, but now we have $500,000, you know, with the rollover from last year. Now, my question is, are those restricted funds, or can they be used to give incentive to the police as far as moving in residents in Inglewood?
No, they cannot.
Well, what are the restrictions? I'm just asking the
Restriction.
question.
Yes.
But I mean, I think the restrictions should be clear because it can be used for other purposes other than to sit unused. Now, because it's almost $500,000 after tonight. Now, on the sound installation, I'm glad to see it still moving. On Ordinance 01, I think we need a brief oral report concerning that. My question is on the 2013 report. You have receive and file. I hope we have an oral report rather than receive and file. Now, the question is, where is the 1213? See, and it's questionable, and then after the report, I would ask this council to allow residents to ask questions of the finance director, rather than just give the report and then we're not allowed to ask any questions. Thank you very much, and we're moving in the right direction, so congratulations.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, Council, staff, Michael Benbow, First District. And my comments are mainly for the city manager's office on the consent calendar number 2, and it has to do with the animal control also. I remember very clearly, and I used to live right there on 7th Avenue, right behind the racetracks, that when they destroyed what's now the Renaissance area over there, and they put in the homes and whatnot, I had a severe problem that was, at that particular time, covered by the county. I'd had possum traps and everything else in my backyard, and it wasn't a week that went by that I didn't catch something. And all you had to do was call them up, and they would come out and get whatever it is. They'd empty the trap for you and give you the trap back, and, of course, you set it out again. And I caught a number of wild animals in those traps. And I'm hoping that this new animal grant that's turned over to the city includes money for that, because as we can all imagine, with the clearance of Hollywood Park racetracks, we're going to have a lot of those problems coming up. And we, I'm sure, are on top of it, because we anticipate that. We know that from the past. Anytime we cleared some land over at Hollywood Park, we got that same problem. So it's coming.
Good observation, Mr. Bimbo.
Okay, it's coming, and we need to have a plan to get right on top of it, because when it comes, it's coming into the neighborhoods all around it. And I just hope that we're ready for it, and I just assume that we are, because that's the thing that we learned from the past, and we need to be on top of it for the future. I thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bimbo.
My name is Willie A.G. The consent calendar, I speak in favor of 2 through 8, I believe. As far as the animals are concerned here in the city of Inglewood, I'm proud to say I was born and raised in the country, and I know how to handle possums, coons, and rabbits, and all that stuff, you know. They make a good dinner. So put your traps out, catch them, and, you know, country folks around here like to eat them. Thank you very much. Mr. Shade, he eats them too.
Okay, close public comment.
Good evening. My name is Diane Zambrano. Yeah, he always has to hurry up and get on out because we are playing beat the clock, aren't we? But, since we're doing it that style, I kind of want to break into song if he can do it there. I know he learned it here with regards to Jose Fernandez. But I guess we can look at it and start with item number 2. When I read the animal control item, it was about the whole concept of licensing the legitimate animals, not the possums. But then again, since nobody actually sent out any notices to say, by the way, it's X o'clock, send us your $10, surprised people don't just happen to send in $10 because we don't remember when. But that's been going on for years. I know, and I know at least one council member knows that at one point code enforcement, not code, but animal enforcement was so diligent that they were going around breaking down fences. Remember that? Robert Roth's fence and mine. Yeah, not too swift. And if we really do care about overpopulation, maybe we should allocate some funding for the sterilization of said animals. And the next thing was too easy. I'm not going there. Okay, with regard to DR1, I think a very good point was brought up. I searched for the end of the year report, and I didn't find it either. Was it stuck somewhere? Because I see the new quarterly, but I don't see the old quarterly. And I guess, to me, those two great big little, first of all, a pie chart should be in color, not black and white, where you can't tell what color's what color. It should come in colors. But at least different shades of gray. To have really large wedges that are tax and all other tax kind of needs a little bit more definition. But then again, most people, I don't think, look at that, so we thought, cool, whatever. With regard to the ROPS, the redevelopment funding, I noticed you have the August 14 letter in there. Did y'all not know that there was a January 14th letter? Yeah, it came down from the Department of Finance. You can find it online, as some of us do. So I know it's easy to think we don't know what we're talking about, but we know how to find out things. It was Paul Eccles who taught me to go to the original source, since he did such a grand job of stonewalling here. So Freedom of Information Act still lives, and if you don't think so, think of how wonderfully everybody now knows the name Jose Fernandez. $663,000 in 1 year from a school district with only 6,000 students. As I said, I'm sure he did it there because he learned it here, because as I went through the list, I could think of it very easily. Howard Roston, remember that buyout? He reacted it over there. And I could go on, but my time is up.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council. My name is Ethel Austin. I want to mention something on 3 about the reward. First, I want to ask you a question, Mayor. How many rewards have we paid out in all the years you've been in police department?
I don't know of any, but if I'll take a little bit of your time, maybe I'll put you some on the end. The reality is that rewards tend to be symbolic to a large degree. They indicate a community's outrage and commitment to solving a crime. In the event that there are some people that will come forward and give information, remember, these rewards have to lead not only to an arrest, but to conviction. That means someone probably have to be willing to testify. Very seldom are people for $25,000, $50,000 willing to testify because they can't uproot and go change their lives. So that being said, I have never experienced a reward leading to the arrest and conviction.
I know I've been around a few years, and I'm along with everyone. I feel for any mother that child, but I agree with the mayor and everyone else. Reward is like an open door to murder, because people feel, if I saw something, reward or not, I would have to go to court, right? Mm-hmm. And then if I'm going to court, we see this on TV all the time. It's dangerous. So you would say you like in catch-22, because if you're paying out a reward, then that person come up, then you still have to find another reward for somebody that killed me. It's like a domino effect, isn't it to you? You know what I mean?
That's an interesting way to look at it.
Yeah, it's a way to look at it, because like you said, I've never known anyone to really pay out a reward. And I've lived in L.A. County, different cities, and states, never.
Ms. Austin, that being said, there are times when someone can give you information as they know where the murder weapon is, they know where it was hidden. Now, with that piece of evidence, now you can link someone and convict someone. There are instances where people can give information that leads to arrest and conviction. It just doesn't happen that often. But that being said, we'll continue to offer rewards in the event that someone will be motivated by money, you know, and that's just another strategy and tactic that we use to hopefully solve crimes,
So
particularly
the
crimes.
item, suppose I find the gun, and I call you, would I get paid if I told you where that gun was?
If it led to the arrest and conviction, yes.
Do I have to come forward?
Depends on how it depends on how we find it. We might, having an idea where to look, then we might have other ways to go and secure the firearm. But that's a big if.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right. We'll close public comment. We're going to open the Housing Authority.
A quorum is present.
Item 1, CSA 1 and H1.
Move allow payment of the bills.
Second.
Madam Clerk.
Council and agency members Dodson. Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Chairman Buds.
Aye. We'll open the Finance Authority.
Quorum is present.
Item 2, CSA 2, H2, and F1.
Approval of the minutes for council January 28th and February 4th, successor agency January 28th and February 4th, Housing Authority January 28th and February 4th, and Finance January 28th, 2014.
Second.
Madam Clerk.
Council and agency members Dodson. Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Chairman Buds.
Aye. Madam Clerk, what's the next scheduled matter?
The next scheduled matter is a public hearing to consider zoning code amendment ZCA 2013-404 to establish density bonus provisions for affordable housing.
Has the notice of this hearing been given in the time, form, and manners required by law? Do you have the affidavit on file?
Notice has been given and affidavit is on file.
Is the complete file of the Planning Commission present?
Yes, it is.
And have any communications been received?
No communications have been received.
Mr. City Manager, is there a staff report on the matter?
Yes, Linda Tatum, the Acting Economic and Community Development Director, will give the staff report.
Welcome, Ms. Tatum.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the City Council. This public hearing is for the City Council to consider an ordinance to amend the City of Inglewood's zoning ordinance amendment to include provisions for density and other bonus provisions for affordable housing consistent with state law. As you know, over the past several months, this council has considered several items related to housing and implementing and facilitating the development of housing in the community. And I promise you this is the last one we'll see for the foreseeable future, because this will essentially kind of clean up our house as it relates to compliance with state law and affordable housing matters. State law has for many, many years required that local governments provide density bonuses, and the state's interest is in making sure that local governments do their share to help facilitate the development of affordable housing. It doesn't require that they build it, and this proposal is to change the city's code to specify the city's desired density bonus provisions. If the city doesn't adopt this ordinance provisions, we would still be subject to state law. We'd still have to provide density bonuses. But the benefit to the city of considering its own density bonus provisions is that it really considers the character of the community. Staff did an assessment of appropriate standards to relax so that it's in keeping with the quality in this community. So the intent here really is to establish something that's local and respective of the City of Inglewood's community values and quality of development. So we want to send a message to housing developers about our expected level of quality. And even though they can still ask for any density bonus that they desire, we wanted to send the message that these are the standards that we think are appropriate for us to consider relaxing in order for you to provide affordable housing. And if you look at the staff report, I'd like to just really briefly summarize. Essentially, the state says that when a developer comes, you have to give them a density bonus to allow them to build more units than the code would otherwise allow up to a certain point. And you also have to give them other incentives, and those incentives are things like a break for parking, a break for a setback, a break for height, et cetera. So there are any number of provisions that the developer can ask for. And in the absence of our own ordinance, they can essentially ask for anything they want. So we're again proposing that after evaluating the city's zoning code and development regulations, we'd like to propose the standards that are outlined in the proposed ordinance. And I'll summarize those very briefly. For example, we're asking that there be a minimum or a limit on the reduced parking. If we didn't establish our own limit, they can ask for whatever they like. So we're proposing a one parking space reduction in the required standards, and that reduction will be based upon the number of bedrooms, because the way our code regulates parking is based upon the number of bedrooms in a unit. The other one that we're saying to them is that we would find tandem parking is acceptable, because tandem parking allows you to park more cars on a unit without taking up as much space. So that helps with the cost of developing housing. So we're proposing to allow tandem parking when those spaces are assigned to one unit, so that it makes it easy for the units to get, the residents to get in and out of the units. The other thing is we're asking for a reduction to the amount of required private open space on a project. We're saying a reduction from the 80 square feet that's otherwise required to allow them to go down to 60 square feet. And again, they can ask for more, but we're saying that we think that that's the limit on what we find acceptable. The other one is a reduction in the side yard or the rear yard setbacks. Right now, they can ask for anything. We're saying we'd like to limit that to 10%. We don't want them to go any more than that, because the amount of open space really does affect the quality of life and the quality of the development. So we'd like to make sure that there's some limit there. And lastly, the other provision that we thought was acceptable, or at least something that we could consider, was allowing mixed-use developments in locations and areas where it's appropriate, depending upon what's in the surrounding communities. And there are some limited cases where a mixed-use project would be acceptable based upon the location. So we'd like to at least have the flexibility to consider that based upon where the project is being proposed. So that's essentially a summary of the projects. As you know, the state law provides those provisions in the code, and it gives those rights to the developer, and those rights depend really upon the amount of affordability. And the greater the affordability, the more concessions the city is required to give. So we would like to propose that the city council consider the amendments that are outlined in this proposed ordinance. And we had a public hearing of this item before the Planning Commission in August. The Planning Commission recommended that the City Council approve this ordinance, and we'd like to recommend that Council do so. In closing, I'd like to say that this requested amendment isn't associated with any proposed development. There's nothing in the hopper, nothing proposed that we're aware of. So it really is just to change the code to allow developers, when they come in, to give us a place to start when we start talking to them about what they'd like to have and what we feel are appropriate development standards and the quality of development in this community. So with that, I'd recommend that the council approve the requested zoning ordinance amendment and the environmental action that's associated with it. That concludes staff's comments.
Are there any persons present who wish to address the council on this matter?
Gil Matthew, District 4, Mayor and City Council. Regarding hearing. Now, here again, some questions. What is the plan for this city controlling density? That's a major question. Because most cities are trying to decrease density, because with it comes other requests for more services. And also, with the cessation of the redevelopment agency, or it has you to review the CRL to see how much Inglewood is on the hook for replacement housing. And the other problem is that the amount of housing that's needed due to all of the redevelopment that has taken place, it's only by law that we're going to need very low and low-income housing. Now, that's the law. Now, whether they're going to hold us to that, it's unknown. But here again, I would request that you have 16 to 20 consultants and attorneys to give you guys a report on that, because you absolutely have no idea of you making a choice on what kind of housing, if in fact you held to obey the CRL. And I would still tell each one of you members to review 1484. That's the trailer bill to AB 26. And I must tell you to read it, and if you don't understand it, have someone explain it to you. Because I can tell you this. The Department of Finance is on the move. Okay, and Inglewood is on the list, among other cities. But that's law. And they have the complete support of Governor Brown. And you're going to find a lot of your litigation is not going to be paid for by the successor agency. Because they are complaining now how we're going to pay for litigation that's opposing state law, using state funds. So I'm all in favor of Inglewood surviving, but I think we need to be more transparent and hold some other meetings. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, City Council, and staff, I am Ted Brass, a proud resident of District 2 in the beautiful city of Inglewood, and I'm proud of it. I am standing here in support of PH1. I certainly feel that the recommendations from the Planning Commission and others as well lends credence to what is something that's good for the city of Inglewood, it's good for the citizens, and it actually brings us into line with what's happening throughout a lot of our local cities, state of California, cities overall, in terms of offering density bonuses and certainly increasing the amount of housing. I spoke some time past about partnerships between public and private sectors and encourage those things to take place. And increasing density bonus is one of the things that will allow that to take place. Right now, we find that a lot of the zoning requirements, restrictions are older, and now there is a need for more housing. I see it on an ongoing basis. Inventory is low, and right now we need more housing, and certainly housing in the affordability range. There have been a number of things that have happened in the financing industry, and I'm sure that Madam Treasurer could lend her thought to that, in that financing is very difficult, cost to build. So it really does not allow many projects that otherwise would be built based on what you can build there. It has to make sense to a developer to come in and to do a project. It has to make sense, certainly in the number of units and those things that take place. Parking requirements, all of those, FAR, floor to area ratio, especially in mixed use, allows you to build a little more in that same area. We see that has been one of the major factors, especially in the USC area, that allowed them to really build a lot of badly needed housing in that area. So I applaud, I am supportive of it, and I certainly think that it is good for the city of Inglewood, good for its citizens, and it's good overall for everyone concerned. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brass.
Yeah, I too, Michael Bendo, I'm too recommending the housing proposal be adopted. We'll have to be a little bit more creative in what we're doing here. And it's hard to be creative when your density is almost there, and we only got 9 square miles or so to move out. We just can't move out. That's our city limit. So we're going to have to do something within the city such that we can get these things in, because along with Hollywood Park tomorrow, we're going to have to do something about downtown. And I remember just a few years ago, we were trying to recommend that the codes for downtown parking be changed a little bit so we can get a little bit more parking down there so that we could do the things we need to do with downtown. Already, we have the infrastructure for downtown done. Downtown is ready for renovation. The streets have been repaved, the sewer systems, that sort of thing is already done. But we need to do other things so that we can get parking on the street. We have to change some of our codes because beauty shops basically cover downtown. We're going to have to make some restrictions there, or we're going to do some parking reassignments and that sort of thing so that we can get people in there. Because the plans for downtown was to have a large store on one end, large store, and all these stores in between, so people have to walk from one end to the other and pass all the stores, and therefore create some revenue in the city. We're going to have to pay close attention to those things because we need to do those things. We can start on that now. We can really start on that now because it's coming, and we just have to be ahead of the game. So getting the housing in, yes, we're going to have more low and medium income housing in this city. I'm sure we're probably meeting the requirements now, or barely meeting them anyway. But we got a job to do, because when we change around and all the new development comes in and traffic is going to increase, we can't get up some of these streets now. It's hard to get up these streets. I don't know who was making those laws back then, but these streets with all these apartments are full, and there's not much you can do with it. And they've done the parking on the angle parking on some of the streets already, and I'm sure they got a lot more to do because you can't get down the streets. So we need to adopt that, get started, and be innovative in our ideas in tomorrow.
Thank you, Mr. Bimbo. Quick question in your 11 seconds. Do you think that perhaps we might need housing downtown to self-populate an area so that we'll have built-in shoppers, since we're going to have all these other developments in other parts of the city? Yeah, I was asking you.
Absolutely. We're going to have it. And that propels the idea of having housing and retail in the same area. But we down those streets. Go down.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Agee.
It's a pleasure to sit here and listen to people like Linda and Mr. Brass get up here and speak about things that they know about. It's just an honor to just listen to it. People who know what they're talking about. And I would never stand here and say this council doesn't know what they're doing. If they don't know, they got to stay out that nose. I support this 100%. Thank you very much. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, Mr. Agee.
My name is Diane Zambrano. I'm fascinated that now we're engaging in dialogue with the speakers that come here. What a concept. And I was not aware that other than the one person who's a realtor who will seek to benefit from the sale of said housing, that the other individual you asked a question of had gone to college and gotten a planning degree. Oh well. But if we are going to ask individual residents, perhaps we should ask a larger group, a younger group, those who would actually be purchasing new homes rather than those who are already established in their homes. From my vantage point, the 3,000 homes that you're proposing at Hollywood Park tomorrow, by the way, I noticed it went through Bosco Board of Supervisors, Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors, already passed through there. You didn't tell us you were doing that, but you went ahead and did that within the last month. Everyone can look it up. And the flood control and all that already sailed through, so those 3,000 homes are planned. That represents roughly what is it, close to 8 to 10% additional housing than we currently have. So for me, that represents, of course, flood control, the sewage, the water, all that other good stuff, including traffic, the parking, congestion. And yet, I wonder, when we talk about all that, how is it you're not considering the residents who are already pre-existing? With regard to setbacks, the concept of percolation, I know, big word. We should know that from the water world, right? When the rain comes down, when we have it, it has to get into the ground somehow rather than going out to the ocean in the sewer. So if we blacktop everything or cement it or whatever else, percolation does not happen as quickly as it should, does it? That's kind of why we have the issues that we do with water. There are those who always want to have more and more and more housing, not for themselves, but to profit from in some way, at the expense of others. Wow. Kind of interesting how we get here, isn't it? And yet, in 7 square miles, we're dealing with that density issue because it was the actions of this council that chose to use LAWA funds and redevelopment funds for that concept of land banking. Anyone remember that? I do.
Good evening, City Council, Mayor, staff. This public hearing, I just have one question. The way, I didn't quite hear everything that she had to say because her microphone is not up loud enough for everyone to be able to understand what she's saying. My question is, how is this going to affect the already established single-home communities? Because it seems to be widely written to establish density bonus provisions for affordable housing. How is this going to affect the already established single-home communities? You could answer that at the end. Thank you.
Good evening, citizens of the City of Inglewood, City Council. My name is Hector. I live in a affordable housing, Regency Towers, and I think it is pertinent for me to mention that I wish I could live in a house. I wish I could own a house. And on the other hand, I am, rather than coming from Santa Monica, I have applied for housing in Santa Monica, where our mayor used to be the former police chief. The reason being is because there's a policy where I live. It's called one pet only policy. This is worse than living in China. One child only policy. I cannot have children. I constantly disrupt it. Rather than, I used to live in Beverly Hills, now I can't even afford futon bed or a mattress. And I'm constantly being disrupted by the management because it's living under a rule that they wouldn't allow us to do much of anything, and I am now a senior. So I want you to please investigate, do some research about what's going to happen to all of these residents when they become part of these policies. They're once fit all. And as a physician used to say, medicine would be an art if it weren't to the variability of man rather than a science. We're not the same. We're equal under the law, but we're not the same, and we do not have the same needs. Where the pursuit of happiness is based on satisfying those needs. And yet here I am, rather than satisfying my needs, I have to satisfy the needs of Thomas Safran, who have given permission to be the management company. They have evicted my mother. They put in a resting home. I wasn't able to defend her in court. Rather than that, they used the power of looking into my records, placing a judgment when I wasn't even a plaintiff or the defendant. So there's many things that are being ill-considered, but I am in favor of affordable housing because there's many of us who can't even afford a home. And it's very, very sad to know that we have a housing crisis in Inglewood, in Santa Monica. Pardon me, what do you say, how do you say Santa Monica in English? Gracias.
Mayor, Council, I'm a little green with this housing thing, but I need to ask a question. This affordable housing, do we have a lot of affordable housing here already?
Talk about it when we wrap up.
So is this going downtown Market Street? Is that what she was saying?
We'll talk more about it.
Okay, please do. I'm kind of green on it.
Alfonso Parker Jr., as you know, I'm a Vietnam veteran, 66, 67, county subjector, and all that stuff. This is not on my other issue. I'll deal with that later. I was listening to everybody about the density problem. In the redevelopment, redesign of Inglewood for the coming future, you got Scientology. That should have told you money's coming here. One of the places you could go to help you as far as your mixed density property, go to Pasadena. They've been dealing with for years where they put up residents above shops. People don't even have to go outside of their area. They can go downstairs. There's a big forum and stuff. The only time they go out is maybe they're going to work or they got some hobby they're doing. Pasadena have been dealing with this for years. Next thing is the Eagles opened the first concert here. It was a debacle in traffic. People were everywhere. I mean, the cars everywhere. You had guys on the corners with these striped yellow jerseys look like targets on them. Residents were threatening them at the lights, change the light. They had no control over the light because you had a central control telling them what to do. I was standing there listening to it. Go green, hold, do this here. They're telling them, hey, we need a police officer. Police couldn't get to them because the police were locked up in the traffic. The buses were locked up in the traffic. The ambulances, everybody was locked up in the traffic together. Another area you might want to study that, how to work that when this here's, and it's going to get even worse. Go down there on Wilshire and see how they handle it during peak hours in the morning and afternoon. Those parking lanes are for bus emergency vehicles only and unloading and loading only. That's what you should have done that night. Then you wouldn't have all your emergency vehicles, police, whatever, that couldn't get to where they had to get to because they were stuck in the debacle.
Evening again. You know, I was listening to the lady talking about we are obligated because of the state. I understand that the state has a lot of regulations, but, you know, this is our city, and we are voters. And when it comes to the state dictating to us, you know, I suggest that we, as she has done, ask for certain things that we might like to see in our city. But, you know, I say to all of us, you know, that, you know, pay attention and not be dictated to by the state or anybody else, you know. We, the residents of the city, you know, are the ones who run the city. We run the state. We pay for it, you know. So let us not be afraid, or let us not allow people to make this density such that it becomes unlivable for people. I know the Hollywood Park, when they built that Renaissance or whatever up there, the place is very, very close, and I don't live there, but I understand that many people who do live there are very unhappy with the parking, for instance, and you know, they can't even get their guests on it because many of the people that go up there have to park on Pinkai Drive. So when you consider all this stuff that's going on in Hollywood Park as it will go on soon, whenever they get that torn down now, maybe 5 years from now, before they start. But, you know, we have to let people know that we live here and we want to make this city a livable city, and it has to be livable on our terms. So I just would ask that you then, who make the decisions for us, you know, give credence to, you know, us who live here, and, are going to be here. I'm going to be here, so that, many of you who might not be here, but if you're making decisions for us who live here, make decisions that are going to be beneficial and helpful to us. And I go to that with regard to a thing that I brought up to you here a month or two ago about the Osage Senior Village, which we built, and we have those senior residents in there and other residents in there. But recently, and I'm looking at it from the state end, talk to you them about it. But my mother, who lives there, who has given a $60 inflation on her rent. So I asked you them to look at it. I'm sure none of you did. But when you start looking at this housing thing and how it's going to impact the residents, and especially when we pay for it, like down there on Regent, make sure that we, the people, get what we deserve.
Mr. Fisher.
Good afternoon, Council. Matt Lewis. Discussing housing here, and I would hope that I talk to you the last time I was here. We talked about a general plan, and this is why we're taking all of these little innuendos from people in terms about housing. We paid for 3 different studies for housing in downtown and laying out what downtown and housing look like. The last study we had, we paid $34,000 for that one. With the university students, did that architectural drawing and some renderings that are here. I don't know if you guys threw it out. They're here. It was beautiful. It had housing. It had the way that the business could fit into that, and it was just a beautiful thing. And I would hope that we would go back and look at that rather than just saying, well, we got to take this one and say the housing is this and this, whatever. And it didn't create a lot of density in there. They even included the Hollywood Park and the Forum in there that they had put in there, even though it was a kind of imagined thing, but they included it in there. So I would hope that you would go back and look at that, which would try to give us a good idea of what a general plan for our city, because one of the things that we can no longer wait for other people to come in and put businesses in our city and then we buy into their plan because we don't have one. And so I would suggest that we do really try to look at, try to find those renderings that those people drew, and it was really, really a beautiful thing, and I think we can use that. Okay, at that time we had money, and I'm sure that since that we have some money that is coming in, we can use that. I don't know if everything has gone a little higher, but I would just look at that because that is a part of our plan, and that not a part of somebody else's plan for us to fit into. Thank you.
Close public comment. Just a couple questions, Ms. Tatum. There are a couple overlapping questions. But first of all, we have to have a plan that comports with the state's guidelines to maintain our eligibility for housing funds. Is that correct?
As it relates to the density bonus, it's a state requirement that the city provide a density bonus, but it's not a state requirement that we have our own ordinance. It's to our benefit to have our own ordinance because it establishes the standards that we think are appropriate as a community. So that's the reason we're doing this, because we want something better than what the state is requiring.
Exactly.
Yes.
So actually more setback, is that correct?
It's actually not greater setbacks, but it could be because the state could grant them more. So ours is saying we want to limit it. So yes.
Now, as to where it will be placed, it's not going to impact single-family residences, also neighborhoods that are already established as R1, because unless there's new construction and it's rezoned for multiple dwellings, it's not going to impact the neighborhoods that I think that Ms. Sly was concerned about.
That's correct, because multifamily it has to be multifamily to be considered affordable, and this ordinance only addresses multifamily, and you cannot build multifamily in R1 zone neighborhood. So it will not affect any existing residential that's a single family.
And so to answer Ms. Austin's question, it can only be placed where it's zoned for multifamily.
Where it's zoned for multifamily, and as I said earlier, right now, we're not considering a proposal. This is to just change the code so that if a developer came in to develop affordable housing, they could apply for the density bonus based upon the city's ordinance.
And nothing in this ordinance usurps the planning commission or the council's ability to regulate projects and placement of projects. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right, thank you. Any other council comments? Council Morales?
Okay, just to kind of continue on that path, and as we've done in the past, we could always ask for more than what's required, and we've seen that happen as well. But one thing I have to notice is the reduced in parking requirement, which is actually, obviously, everybody wants more parking, but it's becoming increasingly impossible to bring that in housing, and I've sat with plenty of developers who understand the codes in other cities, and they've introduced them, and we are actually higher than the regular, some of the surrounding cities in terms of parking. Did you guys look at that at all?
We did look at that, and the reality is that we've been very successful in working with developers to reduce their requests for parking based upon the city's history of not supporting any provisions where there is a reduced parking. So we've been trying to encourage affordable housing developers to look at other incentives rather than parking. But this is a way for us to consider parking, but in a way that doesn't significantly impact the neighborhood.
Years back, I think, created a zone down Manchester to be able to allow mixed use when the time comes, when the excitement gets here, which is closer than we think, and this actually will help motivate developers. So I just wanted to point that out, and thank you for your work.
Councilman Franklin?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Just want to piggyback on a couple things and then add a few more. There was comments raised regarding impact on individual homes. And so there was comments raised also that this is applying to a multifamily development. But in essence, you're referencing multifamilies to be 5 units or more as opposed to 4 or less. Would that be a safe assessment?
Well, this doesn't actually speak to the number of units, but when we say multifamily, the density bonus, it would have to be 5 units in order to make the bonus
That's my point.
effective, because if it's
Yes.
less than that, you
So
don't.
when the residents were talking about individual, single-family dwellings, that for them to have a multi-unit complex, what we're talking about is greater than 5 or greater. And I also want to stress the point that this is not just an isolated episode. We have been dealing with this, at least since I've been on the council, since '04, because we were dealing with the master plan and the general plan that also incorporated the anticipation of growth, and more importantly, that because the state requires that we have all income groups to have affordable housing or housing available, that we have identified in the master plan that we are short of the affordable housing that is needed for the city. And so when we have new development coming in, such as the Hollywood Park Land Company development of nearly 3,000 homes, those are retail homes that are going to be at the current market rate, not at low income. So we as a city are now obligated to find a new base of housing that will accommodate the percentage required by law for this mixed all income groups that is required. So I just thought that be necessary, and these are incentives to hope that the private-public partnerships that we may work out together, that we can be able to bring in these developers that will help accommodate us. And as the mayor indicated earlier, that one of the areas that we can weigh in consideration is downtown, which is going to be near the mecca of the light rail system, which our consultants have identified that the income group that is density is near the former light rail transportation area as well, which it also will help boost our base for downtown housing components as well. So, thank you very much, Mayor.
Councilman Padilla?
Quick comment. First off, I want to thank you for a very good staff report, and specifically want to thank your your staff, Mindy Wilcox, for putting the staff report together. See you back there, Mindy. And
Thank you,
thank you
Mindy.
so very much. I also want to comment on, folks are always looking for a place to live where they're going to, I always said, you don't want to drive through Inglewood, you want to drive to Inglewood. And we need to be able to have affordable housing, and the key word is affordable. And so we need to be able to work with our developers to bring that housing here to Inglewood. There's no reason why folks should have to go to Santa Monica or any other city to find housing when we can do that here. So I want to thank you for putting together such a good report. I appreciate the community support in this, and I'm just glad to see that we're finally getting this thing done and doing some house cleaning as it relates to housing. Thank you.
Councilman Dodson. Okay, move to adopt a negative declaration.
Second.
Madam City Clerk.
Council members Dodson, Padilla,
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye.
Motion to waive further reading?
Second, Madam Clerk.
Council members Dodson,
Aye.
Padilla,
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye, and I'll introduce consent calendars, item 2 through 9.
Mayor, I move approval 2 through 9, but I cast report 2 for comment.
Second.
Okay, hold on.
So 3 through 9, I make the move, but I want to pull 2.
Okay, so we're moving 3 through 9.
Yes.
Okay, has there been a second?
Yes.
Madam Clerk?
Council members Dodson,
Aye.
Padilla,
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye.
Mayor, I don't need a staff report, I just want to comment on item number 2.
Okay.
Just so the public knows that this issue involving rodent issues has come up regularly, particularly when there's been some development. And for many of you that was involved in the Renaissance know that we were dealing with wild animals versus domestic animals, which became an issue. Now we're getting geared up for the Hollywood Park Land Company development, and in reaching to the Hollywood Park Land Company, we had a town hall meeting on Saturday, January 25th, on which part of that information was addressed. Specifically, in the investigation that I've been working on, that we have issues involving the racetrack specifically, now that the horses have stopped racing since the December 22nd. Particularly, you're talking about domestic or wildlife animals, but the number one item we're dealing with right now is flies. And it continues to be an issue because the flies stayed around the horses. Now that the horses are being moved out, the flies are looking for something to eat. And so now they're coming into the communities, and I'll speak on behalf of the residents housing, that they're dealing with that heavily. Then we have the other issue that is dealing with the field mice. Then we also have the cats, and I heard you mention also about possums and raccoons, but we learned also there's a new item, that there's a new wild animal out there. It's called coyotes. And so when they start this development, there are specific guidelines by animal control that tells us what animals can be captured, what animals that cannot be captured, because we have to educate the residents that some of these animals have the right to mingle with human life. And so you'll be getting more information, at least through District 4, about this kind of activity. And also there was comments raised about how in the days that you could capture by traps the possums and raccoons and then call the animal shelter and animal care, and they would come and pick them up. Not anymore. They now require for you to contact another company that they will bring you a trap, you can catch it, and then they'll charge you a fee to release it. So it's not that way with the county of Los Angeles. And those are items that we got to address. If you have dogs and cats, which is domestic, yes, they can catch those, and then they will remove those from your premises. But when it comes to wild animals, that is a different issue that we need to address collectively as a city. So I just wanted you to be made aware of that. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, move item.
Yeah, move approval of item 1 and 2.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Council members Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin. Mayor Buds.
Aye. And you're sure there's coyotes over there?
This guy knows way too much about that.
Yeah, that's scary. Oh, okay, there's, Mr. Agee says there's one. And he's got the raccoons and possums taken care of. Okay, 01,
Staff report recommending adoption of an ordinance approving zoning code amendments 2013-05 to modify miscellaneous regulations, including assembly use in the C1 zone home occupation regulation, and eliminate references to the redevelopment agency.
Motion to waive further reading.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Council members Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. Move adoption.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Council members Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye, the Finance Authority is still open. DR1,
Fiscal year 2013-14 first quarter budget review report.
receive and file.
Staff report.
Mr. Sparza?
Thank you very much. David Esparza, Assistant City Manager, Chief Financial Officer. I'm here to provide you with the first quarter budget report for fiscal year 2013-14. Before I do, I'd like to draw your attention to the actual report itself, and specifically to pages 8 and 9. And I do that because I want to make some corrections on that, which have all been given out to the council members and also distributed to the public's book, so that you know that we try to make these as accurate as possible. And so there's some corrections under the description on page 8 of the water funds. And those corrections, again, have been made and passed out to you. But the earlier version that was online had incorrect numbers for these, and so they've now been adjusted correctly. So I just want to make that public comment first. So, in starting with the city's fiscal snapshot here for 13-14, we can see that right now we've had and this is a little bit contradictory, and I'll explain it to you. We have a slight increase in the value of our property taxes to the tune of about 3.2%. However, overall we're down, and that's a result of the county taking back $2.5 million of our property taxes, which we are disputing with them, but at least for right now, we don't have it in our coffers. It's sitting with the county. Sales taxes, I'm really happy to say, are up 6% over the last 6 quarters. And again, we have brought this measurement of the last 6 quarters in order to kind of extend it beyond just a 1-year period of time. But again, this is our consistent measurement, and I am happy to report that, you know, once again, our sales tax are on the increase. Building permit fees, there's been a modest increase in this particular area, and so it shows that, you know, more and more properties are being improved upon. And I have to also say that the one significant factor of the increase in building permit fees is coming from the residential sound insulation program. Utility user taxes. There's lag in receipts for December, so our utility user taxes are down for the first quarter. However, I understand that from staff that that lag is being made up in the month of January, which will then show up in our next quarter. Hotel tax, the transit occupancy tax, we're having, again, higher room usage, which benefits the city by those taxes. Hollywood Park, it's stable through the first quarter, and again, we have revenues that we are using to offset the loss of those taxes and fees that came from Hollywood Park. Unemployment for the region is down, and in the city of Inglewood as well, so that explains a lot of the activity in the sales tax and building permit fees, because essentially those go hand in hand. City expenditures are also down, and I'm happy to report that right now we're down about 3% from our actual budgeted amount for the first quarter. This is where we started at with the fiscal year 2013-14 general fund budget. You can see that our shortfall is $7.9 million, and below that you see what we are using to balance that out. This is the strategy in order to bridge the shortfall. You can see that we have a workforce reduction plan, which will save the city $2.2 million, freezing vacant positions, $1.5 million. Use of general fund reserves, this was a commitment by the council to use $3.2 million to bridge that gap, as well as the $1 million placed into the street projects that we are moving very aggressively for. Revenue fee increases $150,000. Anticipated forum revenues, we've got right here, we've used this $250,000. That may grow, obviously, with more and more events that are being scheduled there at the forum. Administrative efficiencies, again, through the prudence of the city manager's office and the directors of our departments, we believe that we will save $300,000 in this fiscal year. And then, obviously, the last one is the freeze of merit increases, which will save the city $203,000. Currently, we have, on the positions, we have 449 general fund supported positions, of which 30 currently are being held vacant, which means that we have a net of 419. Many of those vacancies are in the police department, in which I know that they're working to try and fill them as well. Right now, we don't have a projection on the overall savings, because we're still working out with the numbers on the retirements, payouts of sick and vacation time, and some of the changes that will happen on the staffing level. But the anticipated savings that we showed on the earlier slide was $1.5 million. This is how we look at our budget for tolerance and if we're on track. I've explained this before, but always like to bring it back. Through the month of October, November, and into December and January, we look at making sure that our variances are within 10%. As we go through the fiscal year, December through then March, we start to squeeze that down to 7%. And in May, June, we look at 5%, June and July, 2%, and then at the last 2 months of the year, we need to be within 1%. And again, I'm happy to report that we're on track with that, that prudency. This is the general fund first quarter revenue performance. You can see right here that of our revenues, we've collected, 23% for the first quarter. Now, this is 23% compared to a equal proportion of 25%. So you can see right now we're just 2% below where we thought we would be within the first quarter. To this point, and I want to also recognize the council, the mayor, and the city manager on this. Our projections for last year on the revenues at year end were within 0.2% of actual projections. So that's 0.2 of 1%. So our projections were very, very good and came in pretty much on target. So again, we know that it's still early, that this number, although it's close to what we're projecting, we're looking for that to then start to also climb as well. Here's a couple of the primary indicators that we look at in the revenues area. Utility taxes are down currently at negative 172,000 or minus 4%. Sales taxes are up 226,325 or 15%. Now, the earlier slide said 6%. This is a measurement over the last quarter, not just within this particular quarter itself. So we are actually doing 15% better in the first quarter of 2013-14 than we did in the first quarter of 2012-13. So again, it's a very positive sign for the city. Property taxes, again, I indicated, we're down that $799,000 because the county came and picked our pocket. Other local taxes are up $1.4 million or 55%. Now, this is the measurement over the same period in the previous fiscal year. Here we show how we're tracking as we start along this dotted line here. You can see that our revenue projections are pretty close, right on track, and that accounts for that 2% below our projection at this particular point. Expenditures, we're doing, again, very well in the expenditure area. You can see that right now we're at 23% based upon a proportionate expenditure rate of 25%. And so we're still we're on budget and managing our resources very, very prudently. Here's the same slide looking at the expenditures. Now this one, if you remember from last year, had a little bit more variation in the first quarter, which, by the end, basically started to even out. But you can see that, we pretty much started this fiscal year right where we ended the last fiscal year, and that was that all of the departments are pretty much tracking what they are supposed to be on the expenditure side. So that's a good thing, and we haven't received any surprises. Expenditure performance. Police and fire services are up $270,000 or 2.2%. This is a net result of the police being down by $709,000 and fire services being up $979,000. Now, I want to also let you know that it wasn't because the fire services costs went up that high. It's that there was an extra payment in the first quarter from last year that we made, which then, because we're reporting on actuals, that's the reason why this number then got skewed. But again, this will flatten out as we get into over the course of the year. Economic and community development is up by $21,000. General government is $1.5 million or 47%. Again, our payments, insurance payments, come out very heavily in the first quarter, which explains that. Parks, Recreation, Library Services is down by, almost $4,000. And then Public Works is down by $84,000 or 5.4%. Overall expenditures are down 9.6%. And again, this is a measurement against the same expenditures during the first quarter of 2012-13. Special funds performances, this gives you an idea of how we're doing on the collection of our special funds. You can see that currently we're at 19%. We will have, many of these funds get paid to us at periodic points during the fiscal year, primarily January, April, and then again in August. So it is no surprise to us that we'd be lagging a bit in this particular area. And I apologize for my voice. I must not have you. Oh, here's okay. And then going down in the expenditure side as well, you see that we're at 15% versus 25%. And again, many of the projects that will be started and used to funding used to support those will be coming in the spring. So this will catch up as well. Any questions I might be able to entertain?
Council questions? Thank you, Mr. Esparza.
Thank you.
We've already received the following report. DR2 and H3.
A quorum is present. Staff report recommending approval of an agreement with DAK Management for the rehabilitation of Housing Authority-owned property located at 708 Beach Avenue.
Move 1 through 4.
Madam City Clerk?
Agency members, Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Chairman Buds.
Aye. CM1?
Yes, Mayor, and City Council, I want to use my time to let the community know that the city provides passport processing services at our main library, and we normally process about 30 to 40 licenses, our passports each month, but in January we actually processed 135 licenses, so most of those came from people outside, passports, most of those came from outside the city, so I just want to remind our community that we do provide this service between 11 and 2:30, and the cost for the passports are $25.
All right, thank you. A1?
Thank you, Mayor. We had one closed session item, conference with labor negotiators, various bargaining
A2? CC1, Madam City Clerk.
No reports, thank you, Mayor.
CT1, Madam City Treasurer.
Yeah, just have a few short comments, Mayor, regarding investments. There were no investments made within the last couple of weeks. The market continued to be quite low and still in the range of basically under 2% for the most part. So basically, I'm just not making any investments at this time. And would like to just make a brief comment regarding some comments that I've gotten during the week regarding the MSG project. And I've gotten this question a couple of times. And basically, it's regarding, rumors that some have heard regarding the MSG project that perhaps MSG was going to come here anyway. And we really didn't have to give up the $18 million. And even though, the success is what's going on now. And I'd just like to point out that, the funds for that project came from a bond deal that was done back in 2007. It was a three-part deal. I believe it was roughly about $67 million, $7.5 million, and roughly about $35 million. And keep in mind, that project was already in the pipeline. And cities who didn't have certain projects in the pipeline, guess what? They lost those funds. And keep in mind, of the $18 million, it came from the bond proceeds. It didn't come from the general fund. The general fund dollars are used to pay our bills. And would like to, point that out. And I also want to point out with regards to the 18 million, we would have lost the money if the, if that project did not happen. And that's what happened with a number of different cities. And keep in mind, it was a very good deal for the city. If you can find someone who's willing to put $100 million into a deal, then all you got to give up is 18 million. And basically, the 18 million came from redevelopment. That's a very good deal. And, so we really have a lot of good things going on, in our city that we need to be proud of. The MSG, we broke ground for Hollywood Park. And keep in mind, this is a relatively young council, just the youngest council I've ever served on. I've been here for 27 years. I have never heard of any comment regarding MSG was coming here anyway. I've served under 3 mayors. I've served under 5 city administrators and / city managers, 6 police chiefs. Have never heard that, never read it anywhere. So when you hear that, just ignore it. Basically, this council was very good at negotiating a very good deal for the city. We have all the benefits of the deal. We're getting revenue from the deal. We have the notoriety of the fabulous forum being fabulous again, and it's here. I mean, it's just a wonderful project, and we're really a blessed city. And having broke ground just recently for the Hollywood Park project, and that's a $2 billion project. There's not another city in all of the United States our size, not even twice our size, not even 3 times our size, that have such a project going on. So we really got it really going on here. So I just wanted to make that comment. So this council, I think, has done an excellent job. And keep in mind, 2 of them only been here 7 months. The mayor's only been here 2.5 years. And the mayor inherited a financial mess when he became mayor. And, the deficit of $18 million has been handled quite nicely. Still dealing with it now. And again, I pointed out the health care costs and the pension costs is crucial. I'm not really comparing other cities, but that is something that's crucial with all of the other cities, and they're all facing the same kind of situation. So I just wanted to point that out. And also, I would like to point out that with regards to the comment made regarding rewards, as I mentioned, my own son was murdered, and I put up $10,000. This council put up $50,000. The county put up $10,000. Crime Stoppers did a program on it, as well as American Most Wanted, and nothing was really happened there. So the money really, again, a person really cannot change their life with $50,000 or even $100,000. So quite often the money really does not really make a difference. It didn't make a difference, sadly, in my son's case, and I would have put up any amount of money if I thought it would have done that. And lastly, I'd just like to just express my thanks for those who have contributed towards David Rivera. As I mentioned, he was a student in my city treasurer student intern program that was murdered on the 21st of this month. He was just merely about to cross the street, and some coward walked up to him and shot him. And everyone has been quite generous. His council has been very supportive. I want to thank you, Mayor, for your support, Councilman Dotson and Councilman Padilla, Councilman also Morales, Councilman Franklin, who has been very generous, handing out $100 bills, $50 bills. And I just really want to thank you. And my city clerk on the end there, of course, gave me a check for $150. And I've raised a little bit over nearly $600. It's getting there. And his services will be on the, I believe, the 15th of this month at St. John's, which is right there off of Florence, at 10 a.m. And again, I want to thank everyone. And a special thanks also to Bishop Armour of Faithful's Faithful Central. They have been also very generous, and they are helping the family to get a plot. You know, that church has a lot of wonderful activities, and just a special thanks to Bishop Armour. And also a special thanks to the police chief, who's been very helpful to help me with the situation of a elderly financial abuse situation, that he was able to give some very good direction regarding that, as well as with the Rivera family. That's been taken care of also. That concludes my remarks.
Thank you, Madam City Treasurer. Any persons wishing to make...
Mayor, we have one more item.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's CSA 3.
Hold Oh, gotta turn the page. So call to, well, we're in the successor agency, but let's just make sure once
Okay,
again.
a quorum is present.
CSA 3.
Staff report recommending adoption of a resolution authorizing July 1, 2014 through December 31st, 2014 recognized obligation payment schedule, ROPS 1415A, and the successor agency administrative budget.
Move 1 and 2.
Second. Madam Clerk?
Agency members Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Chairman Buds.
Aye. Adjourn the successor agency.
And
The
reconvene City Council.
H3 and
A quorum is
DR2.
present, 8:33.
Oh, we did? We sure? Oh, we sure did.
No, we
Yeah,
did that one.
we did do
H3,
it.
yes,
Okay.
that's done already.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
And so now, any persons wishing to address City Council on any matter connected with city business not elsewhere considered may do so at this time.
My name is Alfonso Parker Jr. I'm a Vietnam veteran, 66, 67, a conscious objector. They were sending us there without weapons training. I hold classes on Thursday nights, 7 to 9 at Chuco's Youth Justice Center. My phone number is 323-842-3363. I'm also trying to get a station, Channel 5 or one of the major ones or the local, to come see our work. We don't want you advocacies, you nonprofits working for us no more. 50 years, we're still fighting. We can speak for ourselves. We can go to war. We can fight for ourselves. We don't need representatives that don't know what they're doing. So come to the Justice Center and see. Bring your trash. Bring everything you have. Bring everything they have. I am so good I can find a pimple on the gnat's behind in a haystack. I will show you in your own paperwork and bring a notebook what they've been doing to you. Let's fight for ourselves. We don't need nobody. We did it over there for this country. We can do it for ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is irrelevant, but I am a citizen of this city. I run for city council at one time, and I come before you, remind you that we're, some of us, celebrating Valentine's Day. And the legend of Saint Valentine has to do before the tacos and hot dogs. Once upon a time in an ancient Rome, a healer welcomed patients to his home, not the Affordable Care Act or the affordable, what are we going to have now, affordable mattress program with all this success in our finances. It's not about affordable housing, it's his home. His name was Valentine, and with his art, he ministered to body, mind, and heart. And one day, the jailer from the citadel said, "Can you make my little daughter well? Dear Valentine, please help me. My daughter is unable to see." With gentle herbs, and most of all with prayer, the kindly Christian treated her with care. And with faith and trust in God, between the other two, a sacred bond was made. But the emperor of Rome became aware, and like many Christians, he accused him of evil doing and was put in jail. Well, I threatened to be evicted. I claimed to be a doctor, medically trained, and here I am 20 years unemployed because you're looking up to the needs of the government, not our constitutional needs. The Constitution says it plainly, liberty and the pursuit of happiness, our happiness, not the needs and the happiness of those who are as rulers, like in ancient Rome. So I think we ought to be able to remember this if we do understand what Valentine is, and it's about caring, love, and taking care of other people's needs as you take care of your own. Thank you. God bless you. May you have and enjoy with the company of your loved ones a happy, lovely Valentine's Day.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor. Can I get some smiles? When I talk, I like people get to address me with a little smile and all. I'm not here to jump on anybody. I might have to ask you for a special minute, but I'm here to kind of give you an overview of the wrap of the MLK, and I want to extend a special thank you to the staff of Parks and Rec and also to the Crozier staff because they did an outstanding job. What's good about the King celebration, it tends to be the start of what people not even realize tonight is what we call Black History Week. I was asked several days ago, why do we continue to look back at the past? Great question. The answer could start on the 9th floor all the way down to your lobby. Take a look at the walls, Vincent, Dobbs, Tobbs, Tabor, and our current mayor. African American people of color have found a way to participate on every floor. Even as you came up here to the top of this floor tonight, a black man started the elevator. So, for those who didn't attend the 2014 celebration, oh, did you miss a treat? We had a wrap-up meeting on January 3rd, 2014. We discussed areas that we can improve on, and one of the major areas of improvement was attendance. And so what we want to do, we want to start a little early. We want to continue the same program at Crozier, but we want to have a parade. We talked about it. We want a parade to start at Crozier. We want to have bands, vintage cars, a motorcycle parade of 300 women who will represent breast cancer awareness. We want to do a festival, entertainment, food trucks, and a resource and job fair. And also have a mayor luncheon, which will be on invitation only, but we'll be celebrating the first year of the MSG celebration. We will assume our meetings will start planning in April, and we will keep you informed. As I close, I will not forget 2013. Boy, did we make it. My wishes for each of you tonight, let peace break into your home and steal all your debts. May your pocket become a magnet of $100 bills. May your clothes give off an aroma and fragrance of success. May happiness slap you across your face, causing you to shed tears of joy, and problems pass City Hall. God bless you and have a good evening.
Michael Benbow once again. I'd just like to make a few comments on some things that were talked about today that I have some information about. And the main thing was the traffic concerning the forum. And I just happened to serve on the Traffic Commission, and we have talked about that, and we've had meetings on that, and there's still consistently meetings going on at least once a week concerning that. And as of today, the only real problem that we had over there was the first day.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, it was unbelievable how smooth the traffic went. Now, you'll hear people hyping it up and complaining and that sort of thing, and we feel that that's justifiable. They're going to do that. Nothing's perfect. But the thing is that you can go in and out of that forum, I understand, to the freeway in less than 15 minutes. Less than 15 minutes. And this is proven, and the traffic is no longer a real problem here. So let's kind of get off of that and look toward the things that we can do in the future. And we have plenty of things that we can refer to in the future. But that forum is not a problem. It definitely is not a problem. The other thing I'd like to make reference to is that Black History Month. And not that that's the only thing going on this month, but it's one of the bigger things that is going on. And just like to call that attention to you because the Black History Month represents a lot of good things. And that's what we want to make issue of. There's a lot of good things that go on. Black history is just one of them. See? So we want to let you know that the Black History Month is here, and we're celebrating in the way that we're supposed to. We're also advising all those who wish to go out, go out. Learn a little black. You may learn something. You don't know it all, and you may think that you know it all, but there's some things that you have once learned that you have forgotten. Just make a trip with your family. Be sure to get Junior and little girl and go family to Black History Month celebration. You don't have to go all of them. Make one or two. That would be great. And we could all work together in this city and make this city proud.
Thank you. You would close public comment? Well, we're not waiting for you to make an appearance. Just come forward.
Mr. Mayor, Council, my name is Joseph Texera. I'm asking the city to cut all financial ties to Willie Brown and his paper, Inglewood Today, because it is unethical for this mayor, this council, and this city clerk to have taken hundreds of thousands of our taxpayer dollars and used those dollars to help finance your reelection campaigns because of the crooked little arrangement you have with Willie Brown. That arrangement is that as long as you pay him month after month after month, he will print nothing but praise for you. He'll put picture after picture of you in his newspaper, and he will not divulge any of your misconduct. For instance, this letter from the DA that says Mayor James Butts violated on multiple occasions the law and civil rights. Willie Brown had a copy of this. You won't see that in his paper. You got a paper here, Butts page on just about every page. And right there next to Willie Brown, you got a picture of Von Horton. Is it an ad? Did she pay for it? Is it something she's given for free? It's a conflict of interest. Also, Willie Brown is an embarrassment to this city. As most of you know, Willie Brown printed a libelous story about me, trying to get Alex Padilla elected in the last election, printing lie after lie after lie. I told him to retract it. He refused to do it, so I sued him. Willie Brown went out and got a Yale lawyer. I made a mistake last time I spoke. I said it was from Harvard, but all the money he's getting, he hired a Yale lawyer to try to countersue me, and this is the result of his suit. This is an order by Judge Rice saying that basically he is probably guilty of libel. The case is still going on, but what the judge said is that libel or defamation are the intentional publication of a fact that is false. The intentional publication of a fact that is false and unprivileged, which has the natural tendency to cause injury or damage to plaintiff. He goes on to go over some of the lies Willie Brown told, and basically at the end of this, he just says Willie Brown's probably guilty of libel. And so he let my case go by. I'd also like to point out that if you go to Liar for Hire, Willie Brown, go to part 2 of that video, and you'll see what kind of lowlife we have getting hundreds of thousands of dollars from this city clerk, from this council, and someone who's James Butts' personal paid political consultant. A man that a judge, not me, not someone else, a judge just said is probably guilty of libel to try to get somebody elected. That's who James Butts goes to help get elected. The people you hang around usually gives a pretty good indication of what kind of person you are. If you hang around liars, you're probably a liar. If you violate civil rights, and if you break the law like James Butts, you need a crook like Willie Brown to cover that up for you.
My name is Willie A.G., and I live in the beautiful city of Inglewood. You know what I'm seeing in this gentleman that just spoke? Every individual he named, he disagree with, is black. Something is wrong. What is the purpose? Anytime you get a strong black leader, you're going to have people of other races that's going to come up and try to pull them down. This is not right. It's not good. Every individual that this gentleman has named has been black. Black people are the only one that's dishonest, crooks. And Willie Brown, I've been knowing you a long time. I believe in your newspaper. I appreciate it. Keep up the good work. You're going to have people, as long as you're black, they're going to disagree with you and try to tear you down. Remember, you had a city council woman. And how many years did she try to tear you down? You're still strong. So keep up the good work, and, you know, like I said before, this ain't no black city, it ain't no brown city, it ain't no white city. This is the #1 city, American city in the United States of America. Look at it. Look up there. See what you see. This prejudice, bigoted stuff that you hear coming up here, ignore it. I know we got the best council, staff, best city clerk, treasurer. This city's on the move. Remember what happened Thursday? Broke ground for Hollywood Park development. People don't come to cities and invest that kind of money because of bad leadership. I read your beautiful article, beautiful newspaper, Inglewood today, and I appreciate it. And the feeling is mutual. Thank you, Alex Padilla. You are my friend, and I'm your friend. Thank you.
Leola Gardner, District 1. It's very sad when persons of a country that welcomes all nationalities make this country great and strong would attack someone because of their ethnicity. As a teacher, I've taught children of all races. I love them all. That's what they were there for. They were there to learn and to be loved and to know that they were important. It's very regretful that this council can be very dishonest. I myself have been a victim of dishonesty, but I'm not going to say that person because of their ethnicity. Everyone is dishonest. The person that was dishonest was the dishonest person. And it takes a very small mind to lump everyone together. If we're all lumped together, there can be negative things about each and every person of a different nationality. And we can't say all of any ethnicity are bad or wrong. And that, I think, was a very terrible thing to happen. I myself have been a victim of lies. I'm not going to say everyone's a liar. When the George Dotson candidates came out as a hitman, so to speak, against me, it was painful, it was hurtful, because I'm a positive person. And any time that I'm not, it's something that I can stand for. And if you can't stand for something, you'll fall down for anything. A person by Alicia, who's a candidate of George Dotson's, she said that the attacker that did what he did didn't do it. I was sitting right beside him. He said, "God bless you. Use the name of God in vain." Just as wrong as she could be and a liar. People can be paid to lie. I don't have a price tag. We have right now one of our councilmen. He's going to pay for doing wrong things. Just because you've been in leadership doesn't mean that you're always right.
Thank you, Ms. Gardner.
Thank you.
This is the first district. I wanted to make a comment with regard to something the treasurer said, that Madison Square Gardens is here, simply because of all the good things that this council has done. I read an article in the Times some months ago that talked about how and why the Madison Square Gardens got here. I'm glad they're here. But, what you all should know and understand, those people are here because they're going to make money. That's what they came here for. They knew that property was available, and it didn't take any of you to make those people come here. I was listening to Mr. Esparza, too, with regard to finance. One thing he didn't say, he talked about maybe $1 million saved here, $1 million saved there. I say to you all what I've said before, that you all make too much money. You're all bleeding the city, and you're not doing the job that you're paid for all the time that you expend doing other things other than your duties to this city. You have people sitting there in your place making $60,000 or more, that it's another a shame for them, to use and misuse the residents of this city with regard to your own pockets. I didn't attend the Martin Luther celebration here in the city of Inglewood, but LA Metro YMCA every year has a King breakfast that I do attend. Some years I have missed, but I generally pretty much try to attend that because those people at the YMCA, they stand for something, They stand for helping communities with their young people, with their seniors, which we choose not to do. And so, I am proud to go there. I'm proud for what they stand for with regard to the King breakfast that they put on every year, where City Ridley Thomas, Bryce, many people and all people, from many cities attend. We don't tend to do that. With regard to the first district, I know that they're working on that property, the old Safeway and the church building. I don't know what they're doing, what they're going to do. But I said to you the last time I was here, they made all those repairs around there, but right on Crenshaw, as you go down Crenshaw and get ready to exit onto 8th Avenue, there are damaged parts of that street that were caused when they put that water line there. And it seemed to me that people who live in that first district would know those things and make those repairs. There's a lot going on in these.
Good evening, City Council and staff. Ronald Davis, 2nd District. Long time no see. Hope everybody's well. First, Councilman, District 2, I know I can't use your name, sorry. But everything seems to be cooking along pretty good over in District 2. Yeah, so I do have one problem. Talking about animals, when I came in from my job, I came in the middle, and we have an animal problem in the 2nd District. Actually, we have a animal owner problem. You know the owner that walks their dog in the evening, and they will let them go on somebody else's lawn, take a dump, and then calmly walk away. You want to know how bad it is in 2nd District? I live in a homeowners association. It looks like an apartment complex from outside, unless you know. I've been sitting there on the stoop with my neighbors sometimes, and somebody will literally walk into what is our front yard, let Bowser do their business, and walk away. And I go, "Oh, excuse me, this is my front yard." Oh, I'm sorry. I said, "Yeah, I know you are." What's the ticket for litter like that, I wonder? Maybe we need to have, hey, you know what? Cheap revenue generation. If you put some folks in just plain clothes and let them have a ticket book in their pocket. That's littering, and it's a health a hazard. And really, that's about the only negative I could find over in the second district right now. Maybe you could tell us about what's going on. There's some construction right there at Hyde Park where Centinela is making us that they're putting down stakes to build something. Maybe you can elaborate further. With my closing minute, quickly, remember when all this foolishness happened last year when Mr. Texera put up a bounty that if you can do this, I will give you this money. And you said, I got the proof. Remember, I had a conversation with you. I said, man, do the proof. He'll have to pay you the money. He's on camera. Or you can sue him in small claims court, and it's a slam dunk. Why do you do it, man? This isn't necessary. My last 17 seconds, Mr. Agee, I saw a movie, or a miniseries, many years ago called Shaka Zulu. Man who conquered Africa from the Horn to the equator. He was wise. He was brutal, but he was wise. And one of the things he said was, he who allies himself based on skin color alone is a fool. Through the course, it was his half-brothers that speared him in the back, not the white man.
Thank you, Mr. Davis.
Peace out, folks.
Aldine Slide, District 1. Since we're celebrating Black History Month, I'd like to make a plug for a play that's taking place in our borders. It's right on La Brea and Hardy, and it's the Performance Corner. The name of the play is Sick and Tired of Being Sick and Tired, and it's based on the Fannie Lou Hamer life and her activities as far as voting rights were concerned for the African American and the slaves. And I would like to invite all of you. The play will be going on Sunday evening, Sunday matinees at 4 o'clock on February 16th, 23rd, and the last performance will be March 2nd. If you're interested in tickets, the phone number to call is 310-910-0392. 310-910-0392. And I hope to see some of your faces there to celebrate this wonderful, courageous woman. And evil has no color. Evil has no color. And we're all adults in here, and we should know that. So we should not cast aspersions on any one race. Evil has no color.
Good evening. My name is Diane Sombrano. If I'm not mistaken, we started this evening supposedly giving tribute to someone who claimed that we should look not on someone's skin color, but on the character of your heart. And immediately someone just got up and said exactly the opposite. Because you know what? Since Ed Vincent, Garland Hardiman, and I think it was Tony Thomas and Curtis Tucker, have been in this room, we have not spent money in large supply on any non-African American publication. I thought we weren't about racism. How about that? There's only been one company that has been overcompensated as much as the entire revenue that we received from the Lakers and the Kings. Willie Brown. So he did not suffer by being black in this community. In fact, he prospered exceptionally well. And as I look up and down this building, we have a good many African American, Hispanic, and a few Caucasian people working. And yet there are some in this room who every time they don't like something, cry racism. I'm the first person to tell you that I look a lot like Jose Fernandez. And since I came, I told you he had issues. And today, yesterday, the day before, and up until Saturday, finally the Daily Breeze proved that that is true. Does that mean I'm now anti-Latino? No. Some of us actually expect truth, accountability, and commitment in whatever skin color that appears. Unfortunately, some of you have gone on to praise that behavior and emulate it and want to be just like it. Some of us actually believe that individuals should be held accountable for what they do rather than what they look like. Isn't it unfortunate that so many people fought for rights that people who benefited in this room of freedoms and privileges now turn around and call people racist who want that which is right? $663,000 for one man could have gone a very long way in providing textbooks and equipment for school children of ethnic minorities. And you don't see Mr. Texera or I singing the praises of Jose Fernandez. We say he was wrong for what he did, because he did wrong.
Gil Matthew, District 4, Mayor and City Council. Quickly, we need to change the council meetings from the day to all evenings. And I'd like for you to comment on it if you care to. But there is no city in the South Bay that has day meetings. So are you so brilliant that it's necessary to have day meetings when no city in the South Bay, all the way to the ocean, they hold meeting at night? And our next, Century Heights, we have a street half paved and half scraped from Century and 102nd all the way to 7th Avenue, 104th. Did you sign half a contract to do half of the street? They walked off. When are you going to finish the rest of the street? Not only that, the street is getting damaged because the street's been scraped to be tar put on it. And half of the street. I live there. You wouldn't do that anywhere else. The residents wouldn't allow it.
Who's that? Mr. Spencer, is that you?
I need my time. I need my time, sir.
Go ahead.
Now, we need the property tax transfer put on the agenda. You need revenue, but yet you won't do it. Now, here again, you gave a report from the finance office. Not one of you asked a question. And you wouldn't allow a resident to ask questions. And it's not condemning the council. As one member say, you don't say the council don't know what they're doing. That's not why I'm saying these kind of things. And I might tell you this. It's better to have constructive criticism by concerned residents than to be praised by a fool. And then the worst thing is if you believe it. Well, that's a Christian saying. So just think about it. And here again, 18 million. The only concern I have for it not to be clawed back to the city. $170 million Cerritos has to pay. And the DDR and the city redevelopment agency was not a party to the owner participation agreement.
Thank you, Mr.
and
Matthew.
it's being challenged by the state.
It's not, Mr. Matthew. Thank you.
Well, you
Thank
see.
you,
Yeah,
sir.
but you'll see, because you keep commenting on things you
Thank
don't
you,
know.
sir.
Mayor, City Council, staff, residents of the City of Inglewood, it's Black History Month. As some of you well know, I love singing. I'm a member of Grace United Methodist Church. We have a 25-man male chorus. 23rd of this month, we'll be having our Black History concert. I'd like to invite each and every one of you to please come down to 2115 Slauson Avenue. I have tickets for sale, and you know it's a great price, $15 per person and $25 for 2 people. I love everybody in Inglewood to come and fill this chapel. We have 9 great songs, original, some of them to sing and present to you. You'll get a chance to hear me as a participant in this great chorus. So, you know, it's a way to lift us. We're doing great things in the city, so come on out. Let's all have a great time. And my phone number, if you want to reach me, is 310-215-0560. $15 each, 25 for 2. Come on out.
Thank you, Mr. Spencer.
Can't wait.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. To have a first comment will be the day meetings. Our mayor has commented on it last week. We're going to have day meetings and night meetings, so we can just bury that thought. Okay. My second comment. Council, y'all don't have your pictures up in the police department. We say that Inglewood is a city that's on the move, but if you don't have your pictures in the police department with the captains and the chief, then how can we say that our police department is backed by the leadership of the city? The reason I know this is because this woman, well, 2 women came to the city and they had a problem with trying to find our police station. I directed them to the police station in the evening, about 9 o'clock in the evening, as I walked the city. And I noticed on the wall there was no picture of any of our council people. But please, can you correct this informality?
That's a good point. Mr. Fields, would you contact the chief and take care of that?
Okay, and those will be my comments, and thank you. Everybody have a blessed weekend and a great day. Thank you.
Sure.
Mayor, Council. My name is Tracy Robinson. I'm a resident of. There appears to be crime spree going on in this area that is not being addressed. Continuous. I've been here for approximately 20 years. Stabbed, people have been attacked. I had clothes stolen. I've had my place broken into. I'm hearing this throughout the community, and that the police are not fingerprinting people. Fingerprinting the crime scene. We've got a storage facility that catches some of these criminals on camera, and the police are refusing to go look at the film to see who they are. They're walking down the street with TVs on their shoulder. It's not funny. I'm serious. They know the times that we go to work, and that's when they go to work. They've taken bars off of the fences to squeeze in. They broke into my neighbor's apartment, I'll say, early in January. Then they came back and got the son's bike. There's nothing comical about this. Every day you don't know if you're going to be attacked, or you're going to come home and your window's busted out, or somebody's going to be hiding in the bushes, and it's scary. We're taxpayers, and we need some help. When the police comes, we don't want to hear, well, we can't take fingerprints. Why not? Somebody to address these concerns. I'm scared. I'm feared for my safety. And when you've been attacked and you've been violated like that, and you have to live in fear all the time, it's not healthy. That's all I wanted to say. You know, thank God for those who feel safe, but I don't. So if that into consideration, I appreciate it.
Who's Ms. Roberts, was it?
Ms. Robinson.
Robinson? Would you talk to the sergeant there, give him your name and phone number? Somebody from the police department will contact you by Friday. Okay? You're welcome.
Council, well, I got a few things I want to go over. First, I want to go over about these rumors and all this stuff. There's a lot of lies going on with this newspaper. It's not, so far, it wasn't the Inglewood Today. It was the other newspaper saying about the raises and the city attorney, and the mayor gave them a $100,000 raise. That's a lie. I got the paid thing. That's not true. And the office was decorated. No, it wasn't. Mark Weinberg office is the office that the chief executive, chief assistant is in. That's not true. So lies will go on, but then when you could prove them, you could prove them. Some paper writers make up things. A lie is a lie, just to be heard and seen. Most of this stuff is lies about the council and the ninth floor and the pay and all that. They got rid of half of the people that was walking around here with their foot on their desk, like Wanda said. Another thing is MSG. No, it wasn't in the plan. No, it wasn't. Everybody know when Dawn was here, that wasn't in the plan. When Danny sat up there, it was supposed to become a fish farm. That's not true, and that's a lie. That man and that council flew and talked to the people with MSG. They gave Butts the right to meet with these people. Yeah, they came here for money. They could have went to the sports arena. That's free, that's open. Why didn't they go by that? There's a lot of parking over there. They could have went to the Long Beach Convention Center. So, you know, people that's down in the city when we on the move need to stop. If you don't like it, put your house up for sale. That's all to it. If I didn't like living here, I would put, and I was dogged, and I'm still here because I like the city. Most of the stuff I brought on my own self. And all of this is unnecessary. Move. I want to see the city get on top. And this man might have an attitude that nobody like, as you claim, personality, but he's moving the city. He's the type of man you want in charge because he will not let this city go down. He'll keep it abreast because he don't want to look bad with his title. So that's what you need. You don't need nobody up there that just want to be taking pictures like Villagosa did. All he ever did was took pictures. And the news followed him all over. We got a man want to move this city. I think all of this negativity and all of this hysteria with all that old junk, man, please stop all of this. We got a lot of people looking at this city to come in. Look at the racetrack. Billions coming in. They threw the dirt Monday. We need to stop this, and we tired of it. Man, we getting tired of it. We getting tired of the same thing and the same thing. This man would be in jail. He would be in jail. Nobody is above the law but God. And remember that. And Yvonne, you keep on making your things. You make sense.
Thank you, Ms. Austin. Well, that will close public comment.
Wait, can I please?
You absolutely, Ms. Horton.
I'm sorry, I don't.
Hold on, you guys, Ms. Horton's speaking.
I just want to say a couple of things, and I won't be long. First, I want to say, Willie Brown been in this city with the paper well before I got here. I mean, he's been in business with this city for a long time, well before I got here. And you know, the truth of the matter is all the funds that I'm ever raised in my campaign, not one dime of it came from Willie Brown. So that was a lie, and I don't know why people just want to do that. I mean, because you can check that out as truth. You can find these truths out. And I'm normally very careful about entertaining foolish statements because the facts speak for themselves. But, you know, people believe that if they repeat a lie enough times, people might believe it, But the problem with that is that they really know it's a lie, because they know that, because when your lips are moving, that's when they know you lying. You know, and I'm not trying to be funny, but I mean, you know, you almost have to laugh, because you know, week after week after week, I hear that that Willie Brown financed my campaign, and that's like ludicrous, and it's unfair to me, and it's unfair to you guys, because I know he hasn't financed yours. Thank you. That's the end of my closing remarks.
Thank you. Councilman Dodson?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I want to invite all of you to my District 1 spreading day. It's on the 22nd, 9 to 1. I want you to come out and meet some of the commissioners and have a talk with me. I'll be there. Maybe I can hear some of these problems firsthand rather than getting it from the microphone. And then I'd like you to leave there and go over to the Bright Star Reading Club event, their 10th anniversary and celebration. And these people teach kids and tutor kids from 1st to 3rd grade. They teach them how to read. And they're going to be giving a performance, and it's free. It's a musical. I'd like you to go out and enjoy that musical, bring your whole family. It'll be at Rogers Park, 400 West Beach, Inglewood, California. 1:30, you can check in from 1:30 to 2. Play begins at 2 o'clock. Saturday, same day as my shredding operation, February 22nd, it will start at 2 o'clock. So you can come to my shredding and then get in your car and take the family on over and see a free musical. Now, that being said, if there's any problem in the 1st District, my office phone number, 310-412-8602. If you have a problem, and it's in the 1st District, you call that number. I will either take care of it or have somebody else take care of it or let you know why we can't take care of it. So you don't have to come here and try to embarrass me at the microphone. I'm here to work for you. That's my job. That's what I was elected for. And I will do my job. I've done very well in the 7 months I've been here. I've fixed a lot of streets. I've cut a lot of trees, and I've fixed a lot of sidewalks. And I've attended a lot of block club meetings. And I've enjoyed it. So let's be positive. Let's see how well we are doing and give credit to those people who are doing that. So I thank you all for coming out. I enjoy coming here and listening to you. So please come back.
Councilman Padilla?
Thank you, Mayor. A couple of quick things. When we have residents that come up to the microphone, and whether it's at the beginning or at the end, when the mayor doesn't see somebody standing there, the assumption is there's nobody else. It doesn't help us when some folks will be in the hallway behind the curtain out of view, and then the mayor says, hey, okay, we're going to close, public comments, and folks come running in. If you know you're going to speak, it'd just be common courtesy to stand in here in the room and take your position and get ready to come up here and make your comments. We're not here to beat the clock or do any of that. We're here to listen to what you have to say and work with you to resolve any issues or concerns that we have regarding our beautiful city of Inglewood. To that end, other folks will come in here and make comments and disparaging remarks, whether it's about anybody up here on the dais or somebody out in the audience, but coincidentally, that person will leave before the end of the council meeting, so they don't get a chance to hear what we have to say about what that person might have commented on. I think if you're gonna make a comment like that, stick around, listen to what we have to say about what you just blasted the council or somebody in the audience about. That's only fair. People talk about, housing and density and stuff. This community is a thriving community. We're working to move it forward, and we're going to do everything we can in that respect. But we also encourage you to come up here and give us your thoughts and your comments, your ideas, so that we can make these decisions based on what's best for our community. So we encourage that. I want to let you know that I have decided to change I was doing a meet and greet on the 15th, which would have been the Saturday, but in light of listening to some of the residents that said they can't make it on a Saturday, they can make it during the week, I've decided to do Wednesday evening and a Saturday afternoon so that I can be accessible to those that are in our district. So I'm doing my meet and greet on Wednesday, the 26th, which is going to be held at the ICOP Center, and then also on the 22nd, a Saturday. The Wednesday night will be from 6 to 8, Saturday from 11 to 2. Also on the 22nd, the fire station, Station 58, which is up on Slauson and Fairfax, is going to be hosting a open house and a pancake breakfast, and that's one of the fire stations that helps service our residents in District 2. So if you can come stop by and show them your support, I would appreciate that. Mayor, can I go over 1 minute?
Yes, sure.
Thank you. You know, this is Black History Month, and I had an opportunity to write an article in the Inglewood Today to comment about the leaders that we have here in our community. We don't have to look far for black leaders that are mentors, that are doing public service and volunteering for our community. And so to that end, I want to thank those leaders that are in our community, and I want to thank the Inglewood Today for publishing the article that I wrote. Thank you so very much for that. I also want to talk about the MSG Forum. People say, hey, you know, it's a business that's here to make money. Well, any business is here to make money. That's why you're in business. But like somebody mentioned, they could have gone anywhere. There's other opportunities for folks, but they decided to come here to the city of Inglewood, and we're going to work with them to make sure they're a success. They're already a success, and we're going to continue to work hand in hand with the staff at the MSG Forum to make sure that we do everything in our power to help them be a success, as we're going to work with Hollywood Park as we would work with any other business here in our community so that they can thrive and bring folks to Inglewood and not through Inglewood. That being said, I want to wish everybody a happy Valentine's Day with you and your loved one. Enjoy that special day as you do every day. And thank you for coming out. Thank you for sharing your evening with us. Have a good week.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Morales.
Thank you. And just to continue on that, I mean, bringing businesses into the city of Inglewood, if it was that easy, we would have done it years ago. The truth is that we're getting better options now because of what's been happening in the last 2 years. I was here when MSG first called and started looking into the city, looking into how we go about our businesses, looking into everything about the politics, everything about the community, and it really does take a salesman, you know. And truth is, the mayor played point on that, did a great job, and that's how it starts. But it continues because everything else falls into place. The rest of the council, the administrators, the community, all the folks they meet, that's when it closes the deal. And not only that, but it's one of those things where we hope they make $1 billion. That would be great, because guess what? Some of it stays here, maybe a small percentage, but our businesses all get something. It's a great thing. Last Thursday, we had a great groundbreaking at Hollywood Park. That's going to be a great success also. What's beautiful is seeing how passionate those folks are about being here. They're happy to be here. They're excited to be here. They're proud to be here. You know, we should take a moment to really enjoy that for a moment, instead of constantly trying to find what's wrong with that. You know, it's crazy. Something was mentioned about Black Brown newspaper. I don't recall exactly what, but I want to point something out. I don't know if anybody knows this, but Willie Brown gave my brother his first writing job. I think he was 16 years old, right, Willie? Long before I knew I even wanted to run for office. So Willie wasn't trying to help himself at all. And my brother wrote for a while for Willie, and then when he got into LMU, became the editor of the newspaper. He thought that's what he wanted to do. He ended up doing great things, and he's very successful in what he does. But I wanted to point out that there's nothing worse than, trying to judge somebody like that. And, I just wanted to vouch for you on that. So I'd never mentioned it, but thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Franklin?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. We have people that come to the microphone, and council meeting after council meeting, they raise the same issue. So those that have ears, there's a biblical principle, those that have ears, let them hear. I announced at the last council meeting, when the same individual raised the issue about their street being half black, half brown, wasn't being repaid completely, that at the town hall meeting on January 25th, the Public Works Director said that he will get the money needed to surface the street. Why is that still being addressed today? I don't know. The funding's going to be done. The residents have already been notified. The residents that were there from Century Heights was all appreciative that it was going to be done, but yet it's still an issue by an individual apparently didn't hear. The same thing about council meetings being daytime versus nighttime. We've addressed that issue umpteen times, and I don't know why that still needs to be an issue. I also want to acknowledge that things don't just happen, you make them happen. And I really want to reach out to the Martin Luther King Planning Committee for an outstanding program. This was one of the unique ones that I've seen ever where we didn't have a keynote speaker, it was our children that was a speaker. And then in addition to the additional program that you gave was awesome. You're right. Two things that need to be done, in my opinion. One was we clearly need more attendance. This is a local event, public event. The schools should have required those students to be supported by their campuses to be at that event. Secondly, that the festival event thereafter was outstanding, but it was underutilized. And I think we need to do more outreach. I'm clearly glad to also see that we balanced the budget. You found the funds that was needed, so my hat's off to that. This is not only Black History Month, but also this is the month on which the Boy Scouts of America founded the Boy Scout units in the United States. So I just want to make sure that aware. And then also, I emphasize, things don't just happen, you make them happen. MSG, as you heard my colleague, Councilman Morales say, they actually came to us and they quizzed us as if we were taking an exam because they wanted to find out, are you really sincere of bringing in this kind of business into the city? And more importantly, we want to make sure that there's continuity on this council to make sure that when we move our investment forward, that you are there to help us expedite this program because time is money. And spending $100 million, we have to make sure that this council on hold is on board. Comment two was, we just had the ceremony this last week regarding the Hollywood Park, a program since 2004 we've been working on. Mayor, can I get another minute?
Of course you can.
So 2004, we went through 11 public hearings in order to get the land use changes for this massive development of 238 acres. It is now official. The other exciting thing that we had a company that came to this city that because they didn't get their way, then in turn they bought land, they land bank land and said, we'll never help improve the economy of this city. And guess what happened? Just this month alone, there was a recent announcement that the owner of the Rams had bought that 60 acres that's been a vacant lot all this time. Why? Because that investor sees that there's opportunities here, as we all know why you're in business, to make money. And it's right here in the city of Inglewood to boost our economy, and it's a win-win opportunity. Thank you very much.
I have a little bit to say today. It's unfortunate, but we have some people that will have no part of the city being a success. For a gentleman like Mr. Mathau, who scours the successor agency documents to keep saying that the $18 million will be challenged when it's been approved on 3 ROPS with no sign of being challenged, that almost evidences a desire, a hope that there will be a problem. Mr. Mathau, it has been approved, reapproved. It's not going to be challenged. It was a good decision. I want to thank the city treasurer because she continues to provide clarity in where these funds come from, that they were obligated properly, and so just embrace it. The forum is open. It's a success. The Dalai Lama will be here on the 25th of February. We've arranged for there to be 1,000 tickets given to Inglewood students so that we can have the children of this community there. That's a success as well. Embrace it, roll with it. It's a good thing. Traffic at the forum. I think it was Mr. I forget. But anyway, we have people with individual hand controls at the traffic signals so that we can control the traffic intersection by intersection, and the maximum wait time has been 15 minutes from the 405 to the forum. We've been praised effusively for that. That's another success. It's okay to embrace it. You will never have money come into community without traffic. Get used to it. We're going to have traffic in this community. It means people want to come here. When people come here, they spend money. They buy gas, they eat, they shop, they embrace our entertainment opportunities. And we're going to have more of them. Get used to it. There's going to be traffic in this community. It's a good thing. This whole thing about keeping up this thing about the state's going to take this money from us and the county's going to take that. You know what their objective is at the state and the governor? It's to keep as much of all the money for themselves and as little as we can have for us. Well, you know what? We're going to fight for every dime that we can to be spent in this community. And if we have to fight the state and fight the county, then we'll do it. That's a good thing. We're not supposed to roll over. We're supposed to be aggressive in making sure we spend money here in the city of Inglewood. That's a good thing. Embrace it. Ethel, I have to tell you, lately, you've just been a tremendous judge of character. But I thought I had a really winning personality, and I'm going to work on that. All right? Okay? So let's talk about we have a couple people come up here week in and week out with the same diatribe. You know, I've worked for 3 different cities, one of them twice. I've worked for 40 years in public service, managed organizations as large as 1,100 people, $160 million budget. In those 40 years, I probably made a mistake or 2. Now, in 1993, I signed a training bulletin that was put out by a guy named DeValis Rutledge from Orange County. He was a district attorney, deputy district attorney, and he did training, and it talked about questioning outside of Miranda. Well, 2 of our detectives questioned a murder. His name was McNally, and after he had invoked, and they took statements that were used against him later to impeach his testimony, because if someone invokes and they talk anyway, the statements can be used against them if they take the stand. Well, McNally is still in jail for murder. And the ACLU took that up, and the court said, oh, they shouldn't have done that, and they held me responsible because I'm the chief. We didn't tell anybody to do it, but you know what? It's a mistake, but this man wants to make that the definition of my life. It's not the definition of my life. There's 39 other years that went with that. Mr. Brown, if he made a mistake and there's adjudication against him, that doesn't define his life. And this whole thing that Mr. Texera keeps running in here and saying the district attorney found I broke the law, here's the way it works. District attorneys don't find anybody broke the law. Courts do. District attorneys give advisory opinions. And they give an advisory opinion because I ejected him because I thought he was totally out of control. I thought that his behavior was not in comportment with the meeting. And you know what? I'd do it again. All right? So what I'm saying is, you know, I made a decision. If they disagreed with it, they disagreed with it. But that doesn't define me. What should define me overall is what I do day in and day out, what we do day in and day out to bring this community forward. And if he made a mistake, I made a mistake, it doesn't define our lives. But you see, we have people in this, couple people, they want that to be the definition of what we are, what our purported shortcomings were. Who does that? Who does that? And we talk about papers. Mr. Brown's a contributing writer for a paper that consistently misrepresents the truth. In one of their latest editions, they said that the city manager was paid $100,000 when I got here, and I gave him, and they inferred, everything is, did the mayor, they asked the questions, that's how they get around the libel. They ask the questions instead of make a statement. It's like, the inference is there. Okay, I'm sorry, I never, ever hear you take that to task, Mr. Brano, ever. So, that's the Morningside Park Chronicle, by the way. It's a guy named Randall Fleming. So, you know, come on, we just have to get real here, okay? The people up here are not perfect people, but they're good people. And the only way that great men make mistakes because you don't get to be great without making mistakes. So, let's just kind of chill this stuff if we can, because the reality is we're doing a lot better than we were, and we will do better in the future. So I want to let Councilman Padilla close the meeting today.
Yes, Mayor. I want to close the meeting in memory of my sister-in-law's father-in-law, Lawrence H. Saldibar, a World War II veteran and a true hero who recently passed away. This man served with honor, respect, and distinguished service to our community, and so I'd like to close tonight's meeting in his honor.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Sure.